Welcome back to another episode. And here is why you need to listen to this episode in particular. It is with one of my role models and one of the people that I most admire in the personal finance space. Her name is Shang. And if you don't know her already, follow her on social media at Save My Sense. Not only does she have hundreds of thousands of followers, not only has she reached financial independence early in life, not only did she quit her corporate job to pursue helping other people with financial independence, and not only is she a Harvard grad and an MBA from the University of Chicago, she is just an awesome person. And the reason in particular that you need to listen to this, especially for those of you who are high earning, ambitious ladies in corporate, I want you to hear what life can look like on the other side if you decide to pursue financial independence. And if you're not afraid of the word frugal. One of the things that I love about Shang is that she is not shy about being frugal. She's not ashamed of it. She actually makes it sound fun and exciting. And she is just really down to earth and is a huge proponent of mental health. So if you are a lady who has earned some good money in your life, are looking to think about what financial independence can really feel like on the other side of corporate life, and if you are a strong advocate of mental health as well as financial health, this episode is for you. Let's listen in. Welcome to Crush Your Money Goals, where we dive deep into all things money as your 2 millionaire mentors. I'm Bernadette Joy.
And I'm Stefanie Gonzalez. This season, we're shifting gears and focusing on something that affects us all, quitting with confidence.
From financial habits to career transitions, we're here to guide you through the journey of taking charge of your finances and pursuing your dreams fearlessly.
Tune in every week as we share tips, stories, and expert insights to help you crush your money goals and embrace change with open arms. Welcome to Season 7, Quit with Conviction.
I have to confess, y'all, that I am definitely fangirling right now. I totally am right now. So I haven't said this to her. This is the first time we're meeting in person. Yes. So we are recording live from Women in Money at FinCon in Orange County. And we had an opportunity to meet with Shang, who has really inspired me in my journey for the last couple of years, especially as an Asian American woman, but also because she is so transparent and honest about the cross-section between mental health and wealth. And so we asked her to come and share more of her wisdom with us. And so welcome to the podcast.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting to be here.
All right. Y'all can't see, but I'm sweating and like blushing right now. So we're going to turn it over and talk more about her. So I would love for you to share with our audience who you are and share more about why you started Save My Sense.
Okay, sure. My name is Shang from Save My Sense. And I started this originally as a blog when I came out of stealth mode and I realized I became work optional at age 31.
Wow.
And I had no idea that you could write about it because I was so ashamed of all those years that I worked towards early retirement. But I realized I can change people's lives by changing the way they approach money. And that's powerful. And I really wanted to use my knowledge for good. And that's how we got started back in 2016, just shouting into the void of the internet, hoping someone hears me, and somehow luck had it one way or another, and I began to grow on Instagram.
I love that. And I have to say, I didn't find you until the pandemic, as I think a lot of personal finance kind of blew up during the pandemic. And so the fact that you've been doing this since 2016, like you're kind of an OG in this, because a lot of people started like kind of recently in the last couple of years. And so I would say that's a really brave thing to do in 2016 when this wasn't as, popular as it is, I think, now. Did you find it to be difficult?
I didn't realize that was the fact. I think my challenge to myself was I already was helping people through coaching. And I realized there were things that I said over and over and over to all of my coaching clients. I just wanted more people to hear about it. And at that time, Instagram was where most people were. So I was like, well, I don't understand Instagram, but I'll try it because who knows? So
I love that. That's a clear example of motion over motivation, right? It's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but we're going to try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think you always tell your audience, do it scared, right? So whether it's, a new skill, navigating your finances, figuring out how to navigate a conversation with, your significant other, right? A lot of these things are scary. Yes. And I think we have to acknowledge the fear that's in the room in most cases, but you do such a good job of giving practical advice. I'm a data-oriented person, and you come with a lot of data all the time. I love the way that you put charts together.
A lot of data. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you kind of speak to my data heart when I look at your content. And I think that women need to be given a lot more credit that we can do hard things and complicated things and learn complex topics. And I don't think you shy away from that. And you do a really good service to your community. That's really awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
So this season, Bernadette and I are focusing on the Women's Wealth Effect, which is the brand that I'm managing. And my thought around Women's Wealth Effect was more like an umbrella. So if you think about more money in the hands of women, not only impacts them personally, but it also helps to impact their community.
Yes.
And so we have 4 pillars this season that we're navigating through in different conversations. And we really wanted to talk to you about the intersection of money investing and mental health and, kind of bringing joy to the table. So give us some thoughts on your mind about joy and financial literacy.
Yeah. I mean, let's start with my super frugal years that allow me to drastically lower my expenses while increasing my income, saving and investing, all of that leading to early retirement. And people are like, you must be the most miserable person on earth. I was featured in the New York Post. I mean, they're very sensational. Yeah. And they branded me and a couple of other creators as the frugal cheapskates. And so frugality was regarded as a very negative context, and that if you're frugal, you're cheap, which means that you buy like stuff that falls apart and you're not generous. Far be it from the point. So my husband and I lived off of maybe 20% of our gross income, and then, take my taxes and all that. We tithed 10% of our gross income. So half of our expenses, the equivalent of that, already went out to charity. So I was like, I don't think we're cheap. I don't think we're not generous. I just think that we found joy in doing what we had to do to be super frugal, to reach our dreams. But then I realized, behind that was therapy and mental health. My husband and I just got married. We just went on this journey to early retirement together. It was very, very hard for me to live in the heart of Manhattan, watching all of my business school friends, graduating from a great business school, earning 6-figure income and spending it like they are earning that 6-figure income. And I was not. Yeah. And I thought there was something wrong with me. It threw me into a really lonely place. And it wasn't until I went to therapy, worked on my imposter syndrome, worked on my feelings of inadequacy and loneliness, when I realized, hey, once my mental health got strong, so did my approach to everything towards my career, my success, and my money. And that's when I made a connection. People talk about money, usually in numbers. And people will acknowledge emotions now as well. I'm really glad more people are talking about that. But very rarely have people actually made that really strong connection between there's mental health, and when you work on mental health, you find financial wealth.
No, I think that's really, really well said. I mean, our journey as a couple, myself and Joseph, started with us going to couples therapy and then realizing that we ultimately put our first budget together and we're able to have all these conversations about our dream life. But we had to address things for us mentally as individuals and as a couple to ultimately get to that next point of being able to enjoy what it was all for.
Exactly.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I think I have to point this out that a lot of times the pushback I've gotten from people is like, oh, but you live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so like it's easier to be frugal there, whatever. And you're doing this in the middle of Manhattan, which is what actually drew me to your content in the first place. I was like, I would literally send it to my friends in New York, be like, look, she's doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Stop saying that you can't.
In California.
And now living in California.
I'm still an expensive place. I only save money on daycare, but like housing and most other things are still quite expensive.
But I think that goes to the point of like so much of this is about the mindset of the circumstances that you've chosen versus using those circumstances as like a crutch or an excuse as to why you can't do things, which I really love.
And
that's always your message.
Things are seasonal, right? Like there's a purpose and an intention behind the decisions that you guys made early on in your relationship and how you spent or what you chose to do or not to do. But it's seasonal if you really look at it from a longer term perspective.
Yes, exactly. I love that. There's seasons for everything in life.
Ta-da! If you like this content, please go ahead and check out my latest project. It's the Crush Your Money Goals book, and it will be available for purchase December, but now you can get it for pre-order and you can learn the 25 money habits that will help you save, invest, and plan for financial freedom the same way that I did and was able to retire by 40. Check it out at crushyourmoneygoals.com.
So tell us a little bit about your current season, because you've made some big changes for yourself personally after moving to California and just moving forward with what you want to do with your purpose in life.
Yeah. So at age 31, my husband and I had enough net worth to retire early for the two of us, but we wanted children. So we kept working, and unfortunately we went through infertility treatments and all of that. But we were blessed with two amazing, wonderful, beautiful boys who I love dearly. And then a few years later, we reached work optionality to fund the entire family. And that's when we really started, thinking about career and stuff. Then the breaking point was December 2022. Right after delivering my second child, I landed in the ICU for what we at the time didn't know what the heck it was. I just couldn't breathe. And I landed there. They're like, is it pulmonary embolism? They're like the thing that Serena Williams had, or was it something else? Anyway, so that really jolted me and was like, Shang, if you didn't have a lot of time left to live, do you still want to work that corporate job and just...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm ready. I'm ready to take that leap. So
what's holding you back, right?
Yeah. And just do something that I love. So on June 1st, first day back from maternity leave, I gave my notice, said goodbye. And I'm like, look, it's an experiment. I don't know where life is going to take me. I don't know how long I have left to live. I'm not trying to be morbid or anything. But in the meantime, let's try to change some lives.
I was reading your blog post about this decision, and you gave yourself a couple of years to try this out. And, this again is a little bit of put your toe in the water. You don't have to fully commit to this monumental decision. Decisions can be changed. And I think we have to think about that too in the way we invest and what choices we make with our finances. But I like that you gave yourself 2 years to see what this was going to look like for you, and then decide, are you going to continue or navigate back maybe into
exactly
corporate role?
Yeah. I don't like to define myself by what I do. I know that I'm a person regardless of what I do. And I think that gives me the freedom to be you don't always have to be Shang of Save My Sense. You don't have to be that. You can be something else too.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a healthy perspective as a creator, because so many creators that I talk to, they get hung up by I have to make this decision as though it's very permanent versus saying okay, let's see how it goes. And then at a certain point, I can make another choice about that. And I think that's such a healthy approach from a mental health perspective, not just in, owning a business or content creation, but just what other things, like you said, do you want to do in your life? But it doesn't have to be the permanent choice. You can also go back or you can pivot or, change things. And a lot of the messages that you have in your Instagram in particular is those reminders. Even for me, I consider myself to be somewhat, savvy when it comes to mental health stuff. But every now and then,
she's a reminder,
just when I need it, just when I need it, whatever post will come up and okay, all right. I thought I was over that and I'm not. So,
and I think, you're kind of you are a breath of fresh air when it comes to what we see on social, right? We need more joy. There's enough news about the doldrums of the stock market is this or, debt that. I think you really approach most of your topics through how am I just bringing joy to my everyday interactions with maybe it's small tasks, maybe it's small things, but we need more of that. I'm just tired of the negativity.
Well, and I think what's unique is that you specifically talk about joy that's not rooted in consumerism.
Yeah.
It's not go treat yourself and buy a purse. It's not go treat yourself. And you're very clear, if you want to do that, go do that. That's fine. Right. But these are the choices that helped us get to where we are. And you do make it look fun. I think, which is
dancing in your reels these days, walking down your hallway.
You dance too. I finally got a hallway for the first time in a place I live in. And that's a big deal for me is to live in a place with a hallway.
Wait, so have you slid down with your socks yet?
No.
That's
the floors are not that slippery. But yeah, having dedicated laundry, also amazing.
So. Oh yes. That's a lot of things that people outside of New York just do not understand that is such a privilege, right? Having laundry inside your unit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too. You are now getting to just enjoy little things because you just didn't have them before. But most of us take them very for granted, right? And it's woe is me.
But I also think that if you can enjoy the little things, then you don't need a lot of spending to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
And the rule of fire is you kind of cannot suddenly inflate your expenses the moment you declare fire because your net worth has to last. And the longer you keep your lifestyle inflation under control, the longer your net worth can feed you for the rest of your life. Yeah. And science proves that yes, with more money can come more enjoyment. That is proven. I'm not saying the money is a bad thing. With more spending comes more comforts and conveniences, but it is marginally decreasing. So the first time you get a Michelin meal, you know? But the second, third, you're like, okay, I'm getting it now. Not as amazing.
Yeah.
And so if you constantly inflate your life, thrill seeking, the hedonic adaptation theory means that you need more to get the same amount of fulfillment as that very first hit. It's a drug. That's all it is. And if we base our joy on all those external things that media tells us, that's where you draw your joy from. Your fancy vacations, your nice clothing, your jewelry, experiences, even the idea that experiences over things is in and of itself also consumerism.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't we take a step back and really find what are ways you can just generate daily little bursts of joy that actually makes your mental health a lot better than waiting, saving 3-4 months for that giant vacation that will make you happy. And that's why I find joy in the little things in life, because if I can be simply happy, I know I've got my entire life of joy figured out.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I think that was a quotable for this podcast right there. So what is something that you won't compromise on when it comes to your mental health?
And I've made this mistake before where I did. And now I know that the moment my mental health is wavering a little, I get myself to my therapist, who is amazing. I will get myself treated. I will take the space and time to work on my mental health. And I want to normalize that and make that as normal as us going to the doctor when we have a fever. Like, I wish we didn't think about mental health as, oh, there's something wrong with you. You were born weird. You're such a weirdo. Or like, you're broken because you have mental health issues.
Or it's like a break glass situation. Like, you have to wait until it's an absolute crisis to go, right?
No. Can we talk about mental health like we're talking about the daily cold? Or like, sorry, the common cold, not the daily cold.
I don't want that.
Nobody wants a daily cold.
Yeah. Can we talk about it like that? Because then we start to see it more as something that can be treated too. That it's not something you have to live with forever.
For sure.
Yeah.
May I ask, did you have to switch therapists when you moved?
So thankfully my therapist, I do pay her out of pocket now.
Oh, okay.
So, but she's worth more than her weight in gold. So I'm happy to do that. I do recognize that it can be not as affordable for a lot of people. So I say, do what you can. There are apps out there that are making it more affordable. There are group therapy sessions that you can join. And there are also books out there. I know it's not the best, but do something.
Sure.
Something's better than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Attention ladies, want to be a debt-free millionaire? I'm your co-host Stefanie, and I'm here to help you activate your hard-earned income and achieve financial independence. For being a Crush Your Money Goals listener, I invite you to book your free personal one-on-one consultation with me today and get started on your wealth building journey. Visit www.womenswealtheffect.com/free. That's www.womenswealtheffect.com/free. And take control of your financial future. Don't wait.
I've been curious about this, which is, it just came up in my mind of like, you have a pretty strong following, particularly on Instagram. And there's a reason why you're putting out quality content. But I've also noticed at times where you have been very graceful about responding to not so nice comments, right? And so I'm curious, like, how has being a content creator and maybe seeing some of those things impacted your mental health in one way or another?
Yeah. Well, surprise, guys. If you're a troll and you want to make fun of me, I probably don't see your comments, first of all, because I have someone who reads my comments and my DMs for me. And most of the time she deletes them. But sometimes I do log on and I catch them before she does. And you know what? I have a laugh about it because I know that it's a lot easier to fight with words than it is to actually see me face to face and be like, oh, tell that to my face. You're not going to do that. And so it's a keyboard warrior thing. But I think I also like to turn it on its head and make fun of it a little bit.
And that's what I love.
We're all like, what is she going to say? What is she going to say? Yeah.
Point out the absurdity of some of the comments. I still remember, and this is only because it's the very first like troll comment I ever received, and that's why it's memorable. I spoke about how I bought used furniture, including the bed that my husband and I first slept in New York City. I bought it from another person who said, I'm a banker. I'm never home. I'm selling this full-size. We couldn't fit a queen-size bed in the house. So it's full-size bed with a mattress and box spring. So I'm like, I'll take it. And then this troll out of nowhere says, you are so poor that you are sleeping on a used mattress. And like he said it as an insult. And I was like, no, this is pretty funny. So I like repost. I'm like, you know that all of you guys, when you go to hotels, you sleep on a used mattress.
Oh my God, you're so right.
We all sleep on used mattresses. You just throw a bed sheet over and hope there are no bed bugs. So that was a really funny moment.
Well, for any other content creators who are listening to this, like if you ever feel like that, because here's the thing, when you get to a certain level of a platform, inevitably there will be trolls. There's no scenario where everybody's going to like you.
And as a woman, it's
and just as a woman in general, right?
Yeah.
But I love that you do turn him on her head. And I'm always like giggling, like whenever she does post one of those, because I'm just like, first of all, the fact that they thought they could outsmart her is also laughable in of itself. I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? But I think aside from that, like the fact that you can laugh about it and that you can, like you said, turn it on its head shows like where your mental health, like you're not sacrificing your mental health for the sake of like pleasing these people who
you know yourself.
Yeah.
You're comfortable in your own skin and you don't need anybody else's approval to, you know.
The people whose opinions I do care about, they're in my life. And if they have feedback for me, I really listen to it. And most of them are very, very respectful when they give that feedback.
Sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also noticed that you have a milestone with Mr. Save My Sense coming up.
10 years married!
Yay! 10
Congratulations.
years. Does it feel like it's been 10 years?
No.
Really?
Sometimes it feels longer, sometimes it feels shorter, depending on the mood.
Tell our audience a little bit about, just some of the takeaways that you have navigating life and money with a significant other that has an opinion about it as well.
Well, Mr. Save My Sense is actually the inspiration for Save My Sense. Sometimes I joke that this entire business is just a love letter to him. And that's because when we met in business school, and most people who go to our business school are extremely smart, very analytic, all about the numbers. And that was him. And he actually proposed the idea when we were getting engaged. He's like, what are your thoughts on learning to live off of the lower of our two incomes for the rest of our lives, such that if we are to have kids, and we were pretty clear we both wanted kids, that we wouldn't worry about balancing work and family, that either one of us, he didn't say which one because he was very open to it. He's like, either one of us could step away if we really needed to. And that's what led us to FIRE, because I didn't know anything about FIRE, the early retirement movement, nothing. We just were very frugal. And so he was the saver and I was the spender, although compared to most people, I'm not the spender. And at first it was like dragging me like a dead cat through the streets of Manhattan trying to do this. I remember we were so frugal, we would walk. And at that time, we lived 12 blocks from the whole Trader Joe's now. And then later we lived 4 blocks, but 12 blocks was longer. And we were both carrying at least 30 pounds of groceries in our hands. And it was 90 degrees that day. He's like, we're walking. I was like, no. And I cried the entire time behind him. So there were those moments. And I remember early on in the marriage, it was explosive. It was a lot of struggle. And I hated it because we were different people and we were different styles. So we didn't know how to communicate. But the only thing we leaned so hard on was we trusted each other that we had the same goals. We wanted the same things in life. We just lived them out to be very different. Even the way we packed up leftovers, he like does it one way. I'm like, I didn't do that. I do it this way. And I want to take over the leftover package. I'm like, no, this is how you package noodles. But to this day, I now have learned to laugh about our differences, appreciate it. I'm not here to try to change my husband, but I'm very grateful that we picked each other based on the shared vision and shared values, because that's the sticky glue that keeps us together.
Absolutely. Yeah, that alignment is so incredibly important because life is going to happen. Things are going to come your way that you don't expect. And you have to have that foundation and that set of goals that will keep you grounded, that you're in it together, right? You're still holding hands throughout the process.
I love that you're kind of sending these love letters to your husband. I think even this week you're like, this is just me just bragging about my husband is awesome. I'm like, I love that so much in the personal finance community as well, because a lot of, like you said, like a lot of the content is like, oh, investing and like saving money or whatever. But like you have a very holistic approach about this is like life, right? And that includes love and that includes marriage, and you're very honest about like, it's not all roses all the time. So you have some exciting next things going on. Would you like to share with the audience what you have coming up?
I'm very excited to announce that in early 2025, I will have a book coming out on mental health and money, titled As Yet to Be Determined, because I keep rewriting it, but we'll see.
It's amazing. If there's like 2 things that your audience takes away from the book, what do you hope to accomplish?
Yeah. I mean, the book really is about first, like I want people to see themselves in the things that I'm going to share in there, and realize that everybody has that very personal money story, and how you grew up with it, what influenced it, those original demons, super valid. There's nothing wrong with you. That's part of you. And then we're going to work through that.
Yeah.
And make your next level, your next era even better. But we're not going to hate on the past. Some people feel like they were very dismissed by some other personal writers, very judged for what they've done.
Sure.
I'm like, there are really valid reasons, and it's your story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that so much. And so if people want to find out more about you and the book, where could they find you?
So I'm most active on Instagram, Save My Cents, cents as in the penny, and also on SaveMyCents.com. And I'm also starting a YouTube channel. So find me on YouTube. Hopefully I'll add some humor to your day.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for all of this content from you. So thank you so much for joining us. It was such an honor to have you.
Absolutely. It's good getting to know you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Crush Your Money Goals podcast.
Please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to this podcast. Your feedback helps us spread the wealth of knowledge to more women like you.
And if you'd like to work with me to help you answer the important question, if I'm on track to retire, be sure to snag my free financial independence planner at womenswealtheffect.com/planner.
And if you'd like to work with me to kickstart your financial freedom plan, you can grab the Cha-Ching Checklist, my free guide at crushyourmoneygoals.com/free guide.
See you next time.